sent to the future from the year 2000 by a glitch due to the Millennium Bug. I'm adapting to thrive in the peculiar conditions of the 2020s. Join me in a multimedia extravaganza as we surf the World Wide Web, catch up on 2 decades of video games, and mess around with creative tools new and old. I'm Millennium Cyborg. Welcome to the new millennium. Alright. So what's new? Last week we did a music stream that I'd been thinking about doing for quite some time. I'm really happy with how it turned out, despite not necessarily producing the most cutting edge and amazing music, but I had lots of fun and I do want to do it again. I'm gonna mess around with it on my own time for a bit before I do it again, but yeah, definitely another one to revisit in future. What else? So I got myself a Stream Deck. Very exciting. I finally broke down. I was previously using a little programmable keyboard that runs QMK firmware that I was setting custom hotkeys on, and I mean, I was programming it to do various window management tasks and OBS changes. I was resistant to the idea of getting a Stream Deck because it's not cheap, and looking at it, you just think, well, everything that it's doing I could do myself in theory. Given enough time, I could make, something that acts like a keyboard, something that's got a display. I never did try the OBS, WebSocket, and various web-based or free apps. I didn't really like the idea of using a touch screen directly. The nice thing about the Stream Deck is that it uses a touchscreen indirectly via these buttons that you can actually feel and press, and that makes a big difference to me. Like trying it now, reaching out and tapping the screen during the stream, I think would not be much fun. And the software is just great. I wish there was something like this that was open source hardware and open source software, but I've just had a great time setting it all up to switch OBS scenes and launch various programs and do my window resizing and everything. So I'm glad I got this Stream Deck. I'm having lots of fun. So I spent ages trying to improve my setup for Bryce. The way I've got it set up is it's running inside a virtual machine that itself is Windows 7. I'm running the latest version of Bryce available, which is Bryce 7.1 Pro, and it just does not behave on Windows 10. It tries to take up the entire monitor, and if you force it not to, it will just crash or misbehave horribly. And as I eventually figured out, some of the menus just don't appear at all. So there's a bunch of editors that are supposed to appear. I'll show them now. Not this one. So this one was okay, but the Skylab was one, I think, that just would not appear at all on Windows 10. I don't know if it would work on Windows 7 on native hardware or on Windows 10 in a VM, but it just was not working properly. I spent ages trying to optimize the VM performance, so I'm running on a Hyper-V virtual machine, which is natively supported on Windows. As far as I can tell, it should be one of the best ways of running software in a VM on Windows. I spent ages following guides trying to tweak the performance to improve it slightly, and I didn't really manage to get anywhere with any of that. Some of them even made it slower. What I ended up finding is that I was using local remote desktop into the VM in order to get a nice 1080p view. What I'm using now instead is the virtual machine connection app. That is what happens if you just double click something in the Hyper-V manager, and you have a very limited set of resolutions available, and some of them quite inconvenient sizes as well. So you just get a 4:3 view, but crucially, if I just grab something and want to move it, it's way more responsive. There's something else I figured out, which is that there's something weird with the momentum of the motion. I found often I would overshoot and then try to reverse course, and in the process of reversing it would just keep going in the same direction. So instead, if you overshoot, what you have to do, and this I don't know if it's a property of the emulation or the way the software is intended to work, but if I overshoot, gotta let go and start again, click again, and start going in the opposite direction. That's the only way to consistently get it to work properly. I also spent a bunch of time trying to get animation working at all in a way that made sense, and I didn't manage, and I decided to just try to find tutorials first of all on YouTube. There are some Bryce tutorials, and some people, there's one or two channels that have an extensive number of tutorials. None of them were animation related. So I realized that, you know, at the time when people were using the software, there was no YouTube. So I went looking on eBay for books, and there I succeeded. I found a bunch of books that relate to not Bryce 7 but Bryce 2, Bryce 4, and they do have information on how to do the animation. I've not had time to read them yet, but I am going to read them, and I want to create some fun animations. Like this one I have on the Be Right Back screen now. That's just a very short looping animation. It takes ages to render, so I didn't create a very long one. But I want to make what I wrote down on my goals. I think it's like 5 different backgrounds in Bryce, and then for each one of them I'm thinking a 15-second animation. In general, I can't make them truly loop because of the way the procedural textures work. They're an infinite procedural texture, and if something like the sky is scrolling, then it's never going to get back to the state it was in previously. So I'm going to have 5 different animations and then just have them crossfade between each other in a loop. And I'm hoping that's going to be a really nice, very aesthetic intro. Now since I got these books, a few of them did still come with their original CD-ROMs, and I've only just started taking a look, but they come with sample scenes and sample like gallery images. I'd like to figure out how you do trees. That's an interesting one. These seem to be... I can't quite tell for the trunks, but the leaves themselves are obviously some kind of sphere with a funny texture on it. And oh, there are meta balls in Bryce apparently that I've seen rather ambitious models made out of. Live dangerously, fly faster. This is absolutely the sort of scene that I'd like to do animated. This is a Photoshop. I can tell from some of the pixels, and having seen quite a few Photoshops in my time. Oh, this is cool. That backdrop is definitely some kind of JPEG. I'm not sure how the lighting works here. I like the really spiky bits of terrain. Wow. Oh, you know, back when I was using Bryce 2, I definitely created some scenes where I was just like, oh yeah, it's gonna be so cool. I'm gonna have like half of it's gonna be fire texture and half of it's gonna be like water, ice textures. It's a very easy thing to throw together, and it looks really good in the Bryce renderer. Some nice kind of rock mushrooms and things. I wonder how the runes on the stones, I wonder how those are done. Funky lighting here. Oh wow, okay, yeah, so I want to figure out how to do this sort of building, this various kinds of buildings is something I want to investigate further. I think some of the scenes, although it's quite awkward working with large numbers of objects in Bryce, it can actually handle quite a few of them. And here, I don't know if this was a model or if it's just, for instance, each floor has these little platforms. I don't know if each one is an individual object copied on a regular grid. It's a different view. This one's just a really classic one, right? This is just very default scene. Throw in water, terrain, sky, you're done. But it looks good. Ah, okay. So these are just some cylinders and spheres with some kind of additive texture thrown on. I like this. I like this a lot. Yeah, I've got to figure out how to do good trees. I skimmed through one of the books, and one of the sections was about all the programs that could interface with Bryce at whatever time the book was written. And it was just a list of things I've never heard of. Like, you'd think he would say, I don't know, True Space or whatever was a reasonable model at the time. But no, they're all things I'd not heard of at all. There'll be something else to investigate. I want to try bringing in models, maybe from Blender, maybe from True Space, into a Bryce scene. The trouble with Blender is that, so I think I tried something like this, right? What I tried was the opposite way around. I tried exporting a terrain made in Bryce into Blender. My idea was, it takes so long to render in Bryce. Maybe I can just export the funky terrains and textures that it generates and render it in something modern that takes full advantage of my GPU. That didn't really work because, I mean, the end result didn't work for a start because within Bryce it's as I understand it, effectively infinite resolution. Whereas once it exports it, it just exports a set of polygons and a texture at a fixed resolution, and you can pick the highest resolution available. It still looks a bit rubbish when rendered, you know, at 1080p. The other thing was I had to export from Bryce as an, what was it, a DAE maybe? And it's some Autodesk, it's some format now owned by Autodesk, like almost all of them are. I had to find an Autodesk format modernizer from, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, so that I could convert it to a more modern version of that format, just so Blender would agree to read it. And yeah, in the end, the result was not even worth it. But the other way around would be really interesting. It might be even harder to convince. I mean, in the end, if it's just a bunch of polygons, right? If I'm just creating a simple mesh, in the worst case, I could always somehow write some code myself. Right, so this sort of scene, right? No idea how you do this in Bryce. This must be imported objects. Must just be imported objects somehow. This is cool. The textures, the busyness of the scene. And yet the simplicity of each of the individual components. It's really of the era. Just a nice landscape. Ooh, a bird. Getting excited looking at some of these now. This is very cool. I like this a lot. Very atmospheric. Okay, look at how many trees there are. I think there is a way to place a large number of scattered objects, and there is a way to drop things down to terrain level, because there's no way that all of these were placed by hand. I think I saw something like that. Oh wow. Space scenes I think would be quite fun to make as well. Oh wow. I wonder if this is just simply a cylinder with a part cut out of it. This part here, I mean, it's quite clearly a bunch of spheres, right, with the texture applied. That's just my normal surfing pose. I don't know what he's talking about. Ooh, nice clouds. I thought this was a first-person shooter gun for a second in the corner. It's not, right? It's just like a weird craft of some kind. Oh, this is cool. I left this one for last. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, like, look at this. What have we got here? We've got some terrain. We've got like the water surface. We've got, is it upside down terrain on top? We've got some very strange craft made out of primitives and some funky textures with like a combination of neon look and metallic glow. Metallic look and neon glow, rather. It's more nicely put together than many examples I've seen. Got some kind of glass dome. And then these funky effects around the horizon. Like, this is just the sky. But what's this? What's going on here? I wonder if these gallery scenes are in the CD-ROM anywhere. And this is all Bryce 1 and 2, I think. Oh wow, there's a lot of images in here. What do we have here? Goodies. Ooh. Movies. Okay. Models. DXF models. DXF? So, DXF I'm only familiar with for 2D drawings, the kind of thing I'd export from Inkscape and bring into KiCad or Fusion 360 or something. Software. Meta tool. There don't seem to be corresponding scenes for these galleries, but there is a whole... Oh, okay, there is one set. Let's clear this out. These ones have scenes. What, was this one not rendered? Were some of these just like not fully rendered before they... This one's cool, I like this one. What? Why does the CD include bitmaps that look like they were interrupted before they finished rendering? Let's see if we can open this one. About, nope. Just tell me about this image, please. Okay. Just go to a thumbnail view. Insiding is the name. Copy that into my Bryce folder. Manually switch to the Bryce scene. Open it. No, it won't open from the shared folder, so I need one more step. Copy it from here to my working copies. Switch back to Bryce. There we go. I always really appreciate when the latest version of a software can open really ancient versions of the format. Minutes to render. Not going to wait around that long, but it's cool being able to look around the scene a bit. Okay, so these are a bunch of terrains that have been put sideways. Nice. I want to see if we can look at some of these movies. So this was in... Oh, okay, the folder is called QTVR MOV. So I'm not very hopeful that these will play, but... What? It's... Okay, let's see. Let's see. Gotta loop it. It goes pretty quickly. And then what? Let's transform it to screen. Yeah, okay, so the QuickTime VR stuff is just not going to show in a particularly useful way. It's weird. I don't know. I know I would expect some weird stretched format, but it seems stretched the wrong way to me. Do we have any that are not QuickTime VR? Pretty model. I thought I saw something that was movie. So these are from a tips and tricks folder. Ah. They're like 5 pixels in this entire video. It's tiny. So small. This is from a tips folder, so maybe it accompanies some tips on how to do animation. Portfolio. Slideshow. What are these? Whose portfolio? This is just one companion CD. I've got 3. Let's see. Interesting. So that was the Bryce 2, Real World Bryce 2. Real World Bryce 4 doesn't have as much, but it does have an accompanying website apparently. And the Bryce 5 book I got. Ah, here we go. This has some MOV files. Whoa. That video has a powerful cursed aura. What else have we got? Asteroids. Yeah, if you have to grab each of these, well, like given the animation capabilities in Bryce, this must have taken quite a lot of time. Oh, wow. What's going on here? A lot of strange models, making me a bit dizzy. This one's called ET4. Cool. Okay. I feel like I understand everything that's going on in this one. I mean, pretty straightforward. Just a bunch of spheres and a terrain. And the effect there is just another animated sphere. Yep. How many versions of this are there? Ooh, particle effects. Okay. Okay. Don't know what that was. Ooh. That's strange. That looks like, yeah, some terrain that was kind of deliberately painted on afterwards to make those spikes. I guess an animated light inside? Now this is interesting actually, now that I think about where it went. I'm back. I never realized that you could animate the terrain height map like this. I don't think I'd want to use that for anything offhand, but it's interesting to know it exists. Got tunnel. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Loop this. Probably a better workflow for showing a bunch of videos, but wow. Wow. Is that meant to be a toilet? A flying toilet? Or something? The seat back looks very toilet seat. The models look like they could be just made out of primitives, which would take ages. Big fan of everything that's going on here, though. Waterfall? Okay. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. We've seen a bunch of scenes that have sort of particle effects going on that were just made of spheres with transparent textures and stuff. But this looks like a real particle system to me. It's hard to tell, right? The resolution is so low. I mean, that looks like a proper particle system to me. Very curious. Okay. Bye. That just seems like a model, right? A bunch of models in a terrain. Okay, that's all the animations that were in that one. Okay, well, I've distracted myself for a bit, but I do want to get started creating a scene from scratch. I want to create a sci-fi city by a kind of some kind of cove. I think I've got a good handle on how I'll make that. It won't be an animation for now, but I can add some kind of fly through in future. So let's get started on that, but first I'm gonna have a short break. Be back soon. keep forgetting to send my go live tweet. I like have it ready and off on the other monitor, and I just don't post the tweet. Just completely forget about it. Maybe there's a good way to automate that, but okay. Let's start a fresh scene. So first question is, I want to eventually render this in widescreen format. I just can't do it while I'm using this method to stream, but I still want a good idea of what the layout will look like. Well, let's stick with this for now. Go to an overhead view and create a new terrain. Immediately, it gives us a random fractal terrain. With a procedural texture. Let's see if we can first of all fiddle anything to do with the quality. So default quality, no A. Does the dithering actually make a difference? I mean, I can see visually the difference it makes. Does it make a difference to the render time? It's not very significant. What else have we got? Do report render time. Okay. Let's edit our terrain. Every single UI element or editor in this program feels like someone was starting from scratch, and like this background texture that's in this view, none of the other full screen editors have anything like it that I've seen. Not that I can think of right now. So my idea is I want a terrain that's not too rough, kind of medium roughness. Something that does fade away at the edges, and then I'll use this brush tool to create a cove around this sort of area. So let's see. Right, classic. Is there a separate... Is this just my brush, or is this also... Interesting. Okay, got one level of undo redo. What does this fractal actually do to the underlying image? If I create a new one, it's adding, but it's not. Bridged multifractal. Interesting. That's nice. What happens when I drag? What's going on? None of these UI elements make very much sense. Okay. Yeah, classic Perlin noise. I want to kind of do a new each time, I think. Classic fractal. Round hills. Oh, that's interesting. Slick rock. I make this I can make it a bit larger. Auto rotate. Real-time linking. I think I can zoom in. Oh. Okay. Control drag. So this one is Slick Rock. I quite like the look of that one. Also got ridges. Okay, so this creates some... Why does it look so different? A slight drag. So as I drag, it seems to be increasing the intensity. So there's a bunch of different parameters that are randomizing each time, including how I guess I want to say the wavelength, like the scale over which the major features are. This looks very cool. Not what I'm looking for right now though. Okay, so I can just click fractal and get a reasonable result. Alpine valleys. So if I click this, I get a new result each time. But if I click something else, is it additive or just clicking replace each time? I think it's replacing. This does create quite a lot of different styles. It's not bad. Pocked. That's cool. Not what I want for today, but cool. Crystalline. Okay, it looks crystalline from above. Not sure it has quite that effect from... like from ground level. What does it look like? A bit, you know. Just looks like... just looks like the Alps, really. You can't really tell the patterns that you get from above. Lava. Interesting. Oh, you get swirly patterns and things. Yeah, a lot of these look very cool in the grayscale view, but okay, yeah, that does come out. Well, let's go back to the crystal then. Yeah, I don't think that works so well. Metamorphism. Yeah, looks volcanic. Metamorphosed. It just looks weird. Fractured. I'm not convinced. Okay, let's try from scratch. No, that is what it turns out as. Oh, hang on. Did I not pick the right thing? This feels more like a desert Mises sort of thing. Weathered slick rock. That's cool. Intriguing. Warped ridges. Could be some cool alien terrain of some kind. Zorch. Go on, what's Zorch? I don't feel like this is giving me Zorch. That one looks a bit more Zorched. How about warped Zorch? Ooh. Okay, this one is way too Zorched. We're gonna have to go for something a lot less Zorched. Mordor. This is some respectable terrain. Shattered Hills. Yeah. Big classic stuff. Ooh. Well, I definitely see the cauliflower aspect in the height map. Planet X. Yeah, I can see it. Mud cracks. Oh, wow. Oh. This one is so different from the rest. I can't imagine what I'd use it for, but okay. Got some funky filtering options as well, but those would, in general, none of these, okay, this one will soften things up, right? But most of these are just gonna create really funky. Wow. This is very cool. I'm into this. Can I use this somehow? Let's keep this. I'm just gonna make a backup save. Let's see what we can do materials wise. Where was the material library? Here we go. Okay, that's what report render time does. That's going to be annoying. Is that reflected if we go back into the editor? Yes. So, whatever it's doing differently here to render quickly. I'd love to see... I keep resetting the camera. I've discovered how to reset the camera, but I'm doing it by accident. I'd love to be able to separate out the walls from the tower-looking things in the center. I don't think that's going to happen. Because they're the same sort of heights. I'd have to duplicate the item. I'd have to duplicate the object and erase the walls in one and so on. I'm not going to do that right here, but I'm very interested in trying that later. Let's go back to what I was trying to do. What was it? Ridged multifractal looked good. I like that. And then round edges, right? Okay. It's Gaussian edges too. I can keep clicking that and okay. So imagining that part of this is underground, I need to figure out how to pan. Control left click drag is zoom. Left click drag is rotate. Alt left click drag just resets. That might be the extent of what I can do here. Yeah, so if we imagine that water is covering the outlying parts, How about a bit more erosion? Okay, that is the opposite of what I wanted. Undo. What? Undo? There's an undo button and it... whatever it does, it's not Control Z. Slope noise. Oh wow, too much noise. Okay. No visible change. Oh, We've got these spikes, mounds, dampen, equalize, posterize, sawtooth, subcontours. I think those must be effects. Wow. Across the whole thing. And then are these... How does a human use these tools to achieve an effect? Relief noise. Why is this one here in a different color from those ones? Raise edges. Cool. Subplateaus. How is that different from subcont? Okay, cross ridges. Again, like... Okay. Very difficult to figure out. Dragging a couple ridges. There's got to be a way to control the amount and size of those, right? As well as the position. If it is to be a usable tool at all. Alright, let's try just painting. Let's see. So I think this... Okay, that's hardness versus softness. Let's try to find a point somewhere in between. Okay. This one does I don't know what. So I'm going to set it to 50%. I'm going to attempt to set it to 50%. I am going to... That'll do. This one is also at 50%. I don't know what it does. Okay, that's the resolution. I think that's fine. This one's the size, right? I've cursed myself now. It was a good size. We'll never find the size again. There we go. Okay, so we have some funky brushes. Alright, will this give me a nice natural looking cove? Nope. Here we go. So I want to paint the darkest colour. I'm going to move the camera. Why isn't it rendering? Okay, do this corner. That's not immediately obviously bad. a closer look. Okay, so those cliffs are very sudden. What happens if I set this, whatever it is, to 1? Sure. Okay, so I can soften it up that way. Only 1 level of undo. For the maximum softness on the brush. You know what? Save. And there we go. And also to reduce the amount of cliffs, I'll go a bit further out on this corner. I think that looks pretty good. Is it even smoother? And then, let's see. Dampen is bad. Equalize. No. Oops. Bad. How about this? Oh, that's bad. Why does this have a little thing at the bottom there? I can draw to, okay, fix it slightly. Smooth, okay, I can smooth out. That's just... Wish I had... just a way to flatten out this part a tiny bit. Maybe that'll do. Okay, let's throw in, we don't have a water plane yet, right? Or does it come with one automatically? There isn't one, okay, let's add one in. So, I'm going to raise the terrain. Let's see. I managed to snag a physical keyboard shortcuts cheat sheet as well, but it's not that easy to read. You've got things like, okay, constrain motion to axes, but what about... Oh, right. You've got nudges. There's not like, left, right, and up and down. Okay. Pretty big for a nudge. But this looks about right to me. Okay, it's too low in the water. So we're not seeing that cove come out. I want the edges. Wrong nudge. The nudges are relative to... are in global axes, so they make no sense from... like, I'm pressing up and down and it's moving the wrong way from my perspective. Also, for nudges, they're very large. And that's by a quarter unit. Shift drag, maybe? The shift drag. That seems to make it worse, right? Control drag. I think that's not having any effect. And alt drag. There we go. Okay. Oh, I turned that off. But that was in the other file. Okay. I'm not quite seeing the cove effect I was expecting. Why is that? Okay, that's too round. I wanna flatten off the edges just a bit more. Because I don't want any of it to poke out. But I do want to get it as close as possible. So alt drag. That looks right to me. The lighting looks well weird from this direction. Am I looking at the wrong part of the terrain? Am I looking at the back? It's really the ways that it displays terrain are not great, but I think that might be the case. Can I do a nice rotation? Try again. That's more like it. That's more like it. And then the camera angle I actually wanted for this scene . Do I move the camera or do I move the terrain? Moving the camera actually means that the sky will change. Although I've not fiddled with the sky yet. But I'm thinking along here. What's going on here? Okay. That looks nice. Something from the nano preview in the corner. It looks like something artistic is happening. All right. Okay. Let's look at materials. Buildings, I mean architectural. And I want terrains. Grass and sand, okay, let's try. I don't know what I don't know what I was picking the material on exactly there, but maybe it was the camera. Grass and sand. I'm hoping for something with sand at the low elevation. Normal view, box. Box will give me a good idea. Box is not giving me a good idea, right? If you compare it to... What's going on here? Grassy peaks. How much of the texture variation between the different colors, how much of that is due to the elevation and how much is due to the normals or something else? Planes. Buff sandstone. Okay, I think the lighting is not great right now. The direction of the sun, I mean, the material looks like pure black. How's this? Okay, that's a better result. Effects. Glass metals. Vegetation. User. Contributing artists. David Brennan is the one who has the YouTube channel full of tutorials I found. There's got to be some kind of beachy material though, right? Oh, pro materials. Okay. Frozen shore. Interesting. If I don't find something quickly, I'll shelve the beach idea for now and work on that off stream. There are a lot of materials here. A lot of snowy ones. Sinister landscape, jungle and rocks. Creating materials. I mean, this is sandy. Right, I've seen this before. I just don't know how it works for terrain textures. I want to keep this sandy style for the edges and then have it filter into more green rocky mountains, bit of vegetation. Okay, let's stick with this for now. How long have I got? Half an hour, let's say. Let's see if we can make a little city. So, I'm going to make it in the air and then use the terrain placement feature to plop it down onto the landscape correctly. That'll be an easier way to work with it, I think. I did wonder if I could create something using meta balls. So I want to create some buildings. I have no idea exactly what I do with the metaballs. Let's start with a cylinder. See, the tricky thing now is, from this view, I absolutely cannot tell where I am on the terrain. Instancing lab, edit object brings me here. Edit material, track object, link to parent, edit family, edit attributes. I'd love for it to just give me a grayscale view of the terrain here, but I don't know if I can do that. Okay. We'll scale this down. That looks about right. So this is on the shore. I'm looking at the nano preview. This will be a bit above the shore. Bring it well up into the air. Okay. So here it'll be easy to work on. I think I want to make it a bit smaller still, but then make it taller as well. Taller and smaller. That looks right. Give it some building texture. We could do the steel cage as an outer layer on top of something else. Let's start with one of these office building textures. I'm on the wrong camera. It's not looking like anything much at all, is it? What's going on? Right, I see. The texture scale is the issue. And that is in the material editor. Somewhere. Somewhere in here. I've done this before. Object space. Well, that might help. That'll give us a that's kind of weird actually, because what that'll do is, as I add more, if I combine this into one, I can't remember how it works exactly. There's something weird to do with the object space stuff. Transformation. There we are. There we are. It's at 25% scale, and I'm editing only one of the textures. B is at 6.2 and this one is at 51. D. I don't want a texture. Oh, I see what's going on. I only need one of these, right? Only one of these is actually relevant. How do I get rid of this? This is another menu that totally doesn't work if you're running Bryce directly in Windows 10, at least when I was trying it. I am... Okay, well those are unused. I guess they won't do any harm. Transformation. Okay. Let's put them at 200%. And see how it looks. And from the other camera, I think I want it a bit smaller still. Let's go for 300. That looks buildingy enough. I just realised now if I want to try other textures I'll have to do the same thing. This looks better to me now than the other one. So let's just go in here. They do look pretty different from how they do in the material editor. The lighting, I think, is what is having a pretty drastic effect, but I like this. Can I save that material that I've been editing? Good. Now hopefully if I add a new element, I can just slap the same material on everything. What do buildings look like? How about some kind of cube? Just grab it. About that much. Okay, it's got the default material. I pick that. It's got quite a funky effect on the top surface of it. And then one side is just completely dark. Very, very unusual. Like, what's it? It must be the surface normal in world space, right? So what would it look like? We rotate it by 45-ish degrees. Please let me select the thing. Okay, I've got to use this to select all cubes and only cubes. Maybe I can... no, I don't know. I don't know the good workflow for selecting objects when you have multiple. Interesting. How about a pyramid? Like I said before, I discovered, like, if you start going in the wrong direction or if you overshoot, you just gotta let go and click again, and hopefully it'll work properly after that. Otherwise the momentum will just send you way off in the wrong direction. Actually, do I want it rotated? Yeah, I do want it rotated with the building. Using Alt click to give me fine control. Move it. move it down a touch. This isn't even the right view. I need a side-on view. That looks good. Set the material. We need a top for this tower, and I'm thinking a squashed sphere. Can't zoom in any further for whatever reason. I'm intentionally making it a tiny bit more I wanted to kind of I'm thinking of a glass dome. What did we have? Glass blocks. And then we're gonna have a couple of pyramids as antennas. It worries me that there's a limit on the zoom. Should I have scaled this entire scene up? And is that something I can easily fix? I don't know. Okay, so from this side, I need to bring these back in. That is the opposite of a nudge. Okay. And these pyramids, I need to set the material. to, well, you know, grey should look fine actually. I don't think I want them to look like much of anything. Okay, let's see. I want to move one of those antennas so that it's properly visible from this camera angle. The main body of the building, the repetitive nature of the texture starts getting too much. Maybe I'll make the bottom part of the building just way less tall. And then I wanted to move, I think it was the small antenna out of the way. Please let me select it. Okay. Not zoom in further. Holding my breath as I'm doing these. How's that? The top view. Where's our camera? Yeah, okay. Not quite right. Still kind of hidden behind the other one. It's a bit too hidden inside as well. I was expecting it to come to be more visible through the glass. That's more like it. Okay, well, as you can see, this is going to take absolutely ages, but we've gotten a good start on all the elements I want here. And I just need to put a few more hours into it. I'm going to add more buildings, a few different styles. Scale them down even further, I think. Drop them onto the landscape. Edit the material of the landscape. Figure out how the altitude dependent component works to fade it from sand into a more grassy texture that I assume we can somehow pick from one of the other library materials. And I'll want to fiddle with the water and the sky. I want more of a kind of clear blue ocean. Maybe a slightly pinkish sky, although I don't want to reproduce too closely what I've got on the first background I made. And then I'll post something on Twitter once I'm done, and then make it a new background for the stream, and then figure out animation and so on. And which parts of that I'll stream live, I'll have to figure out. I think next time I might be in the mood for some kind of game, maybe a racing game. Yeah, I really have this idea in mind that just like the Retro Pals Mascot Friday, let's bring us to chatting. The Retro Pals have a Mascot Friday stream where they rank all mascot platformers ever, and Giant Bomb had ranking of fighters where they were scientifically ranking all of the fighting games ever, a project unfortunately that now will not be completed, I assume, since Ben Pack left. I want to try something similar. Maybe I'll just for fun stream some racing games to start off with, because it'll be more fun to do the ranking with audience participation, and that's something I need to work my way up to. Yeah, I mean, I'm having fun. Getting more audience to come in will mean focusing on social media and stuff, and promoting myself, things I've not really thought about. I don't have any ideas right now. Maybe some TikToks, shit posts, who knows? Or on the other hand, I could do more Twitter posts that are just art or fun little things. I'm a lot more tempted to go in that direction than TikToks and so on. Something to think about. And the higher effort version is YouTube tutorials, I suppose. Once I know more about Bryce, for instance, I could do some Bryce tutorials. And once I figure out exactly there's some Blender and Unity stuff I need to figure out that feels like a huge project, but that I feel close to cracking at the same time. I just need to understand more about how prefabs work and the specific components used for VRMs. Things that aren't quite explained in any of the tutorials I've seen. So maybe that's worthwhile. Once I've understood what it is I want to understand, perhaps I can package that as a tutorial people will find useful. Anyway. Is anyone streaming I can raid with just myself as usual? Valkyrie is streaming Genshin Impact. Why is it not coming out in my in my raid thingy. I've spelt it correctly. Well, I'll just see how it goes. All right, it's time for me to go. And if you, like me, have caught the Millennium Bug, make sure to watch the next stream, or find me elsewhere on the World Wide Web by clicking on the links below the video. I've been Millennium Cyborg. Keep that future vibe, and I'll see you in the world of tomorrow.